Okay, fine guys. So what we'll do now is the initial few minutes I'll spend time on um, telling you how to set up this e-library application and the database. There's a good detailed video also available, which I'll upload it, which I'll ask the team to upload it tomorrow. But I'll give a quick overview on how to set up this. Okay. So once whoever has registered, right, I'll give you the access to the drive. Okay. Now when you go to the drive, you can download the Tomcat from here, or you can download it from the internet also. Anything is fine. Okay. So come to this drive and then download this Tomcat zip. Before that, go to the command line and then check if you have Java available in your machine. Okay. Uh, you can have any version, but just that if you have different versions, you have to get a compatible version for Tomcat. Okay. But if you wanted to use my Tomcat that is there in the folder, you go with Java 8 so that you will not have any confusions. Okay. You can have multiple Java installed in your machine because your other application might be using Java 16 or Java 14. You can have two different versions of Java in your machine, but in your environmental variables, just make sure that the path of Java 8 is updated. Okay, for Java and Java Om, and then if you go to the path here as well, you will have the Java folder. Okay, so if you go to your directory, say C program files and Java and JDK, okay, you will have this path. Okay, and java.exe will be here. Okay, so in your environmental variables, provide the path of this bin. Okay, Java JDK bin, so that your whenever you run any Java based application, it will know where is java.exe. Okay, so this you update, and then you also should have a Java and Java Om, two environmental variables with the proper path. Java should have /bin, Java Om should have JDK up to JDK. Okay, so this is a minimal prerequisite. You validate once whether Java is installed in your machine, and then you can download this Tomcat folder, unzip it. Okay, and then once you unzip it, put it in some folder called performance engineering or whatever it is, and then you will have this folder like this, Tomcat. Okay, and inside Tomcat, you will have these folders. When you download or unzip, you will get this folder. Okay, and then here, go to the web apps. Okay, so this web apps is a folder where you will copy your WAR files. Okay, your application WAR, the e-library WAR. Okay, so I'll be providing you the WAR files in the folder in the drive. Okay, for example, if you go to the response time analysis folder and you go to the WAR files, you can download these WAR files. Okay, once you download the WAR file, you copy that WAR file into the web apps folder. Okay, when you copy, you ensure that the name of the WAR file is going to be always ecaps, lcaps, and elibrary.war. Okay, you can have any name here in the drive. Okay, because I have renamed it so that you will know what it belongs to. For example, e-library underscore response time issue underscore node will be calls. And other WAR file will have memory issue.war, thread issue.war. So the WAR file name will be different in the drive, but always when you download and put it in the web apps, make sure that ecaps, lcaps, elibrary.war, ecaps, lcaps, elibrary.war should be here. Okay, and then these folder might not be there. That's okay. You just copy this elibrary.war. Okay, and then Let me go and stop this. Okay. Now what you do is you go to bin and you go to the startup. Before going to the startup, okay, go to this Catalina.bat file. Okay, you just open it in the notepad and you no need to do anything here. Just that I want to let you know that this is the file where we will be setting your minimum and maximum heap. Okay, we will learn about this later, but I just want to let you know this is a place, this is a file where we will be providing your XMX and XMS, the minimum memory and maximum memory. Okay, and similarly, you just go to the your configuration folder and go to the server.xml and open Notepad. Okay, here you need to mention what port you wanted to use it. Okay, for example, I am using 8083. Okay, if in case if you want to use 8082 or 8081 or 8080, you can also go and modify it if in case you want. Okay, and this is a place where we will be providing your minimum threats and maximum threats as well. Okay, so all these concepts of minimum, maximum threats, even all you'll learn later. But I just want to, since I'm showing this Tomcat folder structure, I just telling you. Okay, if at all you want to modify the port, you come here to the server.xml and change it. Otherwise, you can leave it as it is. Okay, so no changes required. You can just go to the Tomcat folder, go to the bin, and then double click, go to the command prompt. Always go to the command prompt and do a startup.bat. Okay, this will start your Tomcat. Okay, so once your Tomcat is started properly, you will see a folder getting created in the web apps. If you go to the web apps folder, you will see a folder getting created. What exactly it will do is it will go and it is kind of a unzipping. Okay, it will unzip your WAR file and it will put every file inside your A library folder. Okay, all index.html, all the your classes, everything will be part of this directory. Okay, you don't need to worry about it. But more from a validation perspective, you just ensure that this folder is created with all these files. Okay, and you will also see a message saying that deployment is completed. Deployment of web application is completed. Okay, this will mean that your application is ready now. Excuse me. And then you can go to the localhost. Localhost followed by your port, and then followed by EL caps. Okay, and then you just type in admin at jtp.com, admin at jtp.com, and then password is going to be admin 123. So this means your application is deployed properly. Your Tomcat has started your application, and then you could be able to access the application as well. Okay, so this is the first setup that you have to do it from a e-library application perspective. Very simple only, very simple setup. Now, second is going to be you need a database, right? Because for adding a librarian, viewing the librarian, your database is also required. So now you go to the the drive, and you will have something called MySQL setup. Okay, so if you come down, you can download the MySQL installer from here. Okay, download and then you install the MySQL database. Okay, so again, a very straightforward installation. While installing it, just ensure that it will ask for your user ID and password. okay, for your database. Okay, just remember to give your user ID as root and then password as pass at 123. Okay, just remember to give this user ID and password, because the war file what I'll give will have a similar user ID and password for connecting to the database. Okay, very simple only. You download the MySQL, double click, you will say next, 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 next. Sometime at some point of time, it will ask for to create a ID and password for your database. That time you give root pass at 123. Okay. Once it is done, your MySQL is ready. You don't need to create any tables, schema, nothing. I will tell you later how to run some scripts to get your tables created. Okay. So for example, if I go to my MySQL, okay, and if I go and uh, access my database, pass at 123. Okay, so you will see this library database, right? And then you will see all these tables: ebook, e-issue book, e-librarian. I'll tell you later how to create this table very easily through a script. Okay, you don't need to worry about it for now. You finish your Tomcat setup, you just install the MySQL database and have it ready. Later, when it is required, I'll tell you how to create these tables. You don't need to complicate it now. You just make sure that you have the setup ready. Okay. Yeah. Fine. Anybody have any questions on whatever we have seen so far today, or maybe even yesterday's?
Satish, I'm Rajendra. Satish, why can't we Dockerize these things and keep it ready? Why we need to do all these things? It's simple, right?
You can do it. There is nothing wrong.
Yeah.
Nobody is going to stop us. Yeah.
No. See, all the industry is heavily using Dockers, right? And people are not going, this much low level, in
See,
real.
not the problem. The thing is, with our experience, whatever we have seen in last 3 years, right, with this batches, uh, not everyone are equipped, trained, or know about all these Dockers and images and containers, right?
Yeah.
So if I go and talk about Docker container, it's a little bit difficult for them to pick it up, and it deviates the actual sessions as well. So that's the reason we wanted to keep it very straightforward, very less technical for them to start doing this.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
That's the main reason. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fine. Now, what we'll do today is, let me go to the course content. Okay. Now, uh, I want to start with the Java basics, JVM basics, which is our day one. But there are a few people who are yet to register, and they say that they'll be joining from tomorrow only. And again, I don't want to, since the day one, I again don't want to waste this as well. Okay. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to pick a topic which is something not very much interrelated from day one, day two, day three. Okay. I'm going to pick a topic of client side profiling or client side engineering, and then we'll start that as a day one. Okay. The reason is that is the only topic that is not related to any of these above basics. Okay. I'll also explain you why, how it is related. Let me go and open this, and then open this. Yeah. Okay. Now, basically, if you see the architecture of any web application, right, you will have your browser. Okay. the browser from your end user machines, right? Like you and me opening your banking website, or you're opening your e-commerce website, Amazon.com, right? You will be opening it from browser. And your server, say it can be a web server. Okay. And then you will have a app server. And then that can be a couple of microservices. Okay. Services. Okay. And each can have its own database as well. Okay. Now, these app servers can be Java or Python. This service can be Java or Python. This DB can be Oracle, whatever it is. Correct. Now, when you look into the performance engineering, we are going to look at the code that is getting deployed in your app server, at your service layer. There can be a problem with your response time, your threads, your memory. Yesterday I was telling you that, right? Any machine, any software you take it at DB, you take it as a Python services, you take it Node.js services, you look into your Java JVM, any software, any application, it's going to consume CPU, it's going to consume memory. And if it's going to consume uh, unnecessary memory or unnecessary CPU, that's not good, right? And our objective from a server side optimization is to ensure that there's every functionality is going to perform within the certain response time, so that CPU utilization is going to be optimal, and also the memory that is going to get occupied by these functionalities doesn't have any memory leak. So all these heap dump, thread dumps, memory leak analysis, CPU profiling, garbage collection analysis, your JVM tuning, benchmarking, DB analysis, everything will be on the server side. Okay, there's going to be a lot of components and a lot of service layers. For every service layers, every component, you will be doing all these analysis at the server side. Okay, and now from a end user perspective, okay, from an end user perspective, I send a request, I send a, I receive a response. Correct. Now, uh, I'm not worried about, as an end user, I'm not going to worry about whether your DB is optimized, whether your service layer is optimized, whether your app server is optimized, how many services you're going to use it. I'm not going to worry about it. For me, how fast my page is getting displayed in my browser is my concern, is my experience, right? So end user response time or your client side experience is another aspect of performance engineering that you have to look into. Okay. Normally, what happens is when you do a testing, right? When you do a performance testing using say Jmeter or LoadRunner or any tool, again the focus there would be on um, load testing your server side, and then see whether your servers are able to handle this load, and then the response time from the server is between below 3 seconds or 5 seconds is what you will validate. Okay, you're not going to validate what is your end user experience, whether the screen is rendered within those 5 seconds or 4 seconds. You will not measure your client side experience through your traditional load testing. Okay, so the with the current digital world, with all for your .com websites, it's very important to do the client side performance testing and optimization. Okay, while we talk about CPU and memory at the server side, from a client side, it is all about how can you um, reduce your page size. How can you reduce your number of requests that goes to the server is going to be our objective. Okay, both these factors, reducing the page size. Say for example, there's no SLA for a page size. You have to note it. Okay, a page can have 10 MB, can have 20 MB, can have 30 MB. It depends, depending upon your websites. The e-commerce website can be very heavy. Your banking site can be very lightweight. So there is not going to be an SLA given by your any product owners or any architect for a page size. Okay, but you should see opportunity for reducing your page size if possible, optimizing your page size. Say for example, instead of 15 MB, if you can bring down that to 9 MB, okay, agreed by your developers, right? Then lesser the page size, lesser faster it is going to get downloaded and rendered. Okay, that's as simple as that. You send a 50 MB file through an email versus sending a 5 MB attachment through an email. Both will have a difference in terms of how fast it can travel, right? So reducing the page size indirectly is going to reduce your overall response time from a client side. Same way, number of requests in any page, any website, if we take it, there are going to be hundreds, 200s, 300 requests that is going to triggered from your main page. Okay, for your style sheet, for your images, font, all your Ajax calls, everything comprising that can be more than 100 such requests. And every request will be using your bandwidth. It will go through your network, and then it will do some connections, SSL handshake, and then the response from a server will again come back through the network, and then it will come to your browser. Okay, so all these things are going to have a complete round trip. Reducing the number of requests is again going to help you in utilizing your bandwidth effectively, and indirectly it is going to help you in reducing your response time. So two things. One is going to be your page size. Two is going to be your number of requests. Okay, so because of which you will response time of end users will get reduced. Okay, now let me go to the slide. Okay, now when it comes to your client side testing or client side profiling, right? The first thing is to analyze your page, and then it is more of a testing and capturing the metrics. That's the first part. Second part is going to be your optimization. How can I analyze and provide recommendation for your client side profiling? Okay, now when it comes to your client side analysis, right? You're going to do a testing as first time user and then as a repeated user. What it means is, see, most of us open our browser, and then say if it is going to be a your irctc.com, okay, which we don't use it regularly, right? Only if we require, we'll be using it. So when you open this irctc.com, your website, your ticket booking website, it is going to treat you as a first-time user, right? Because you wouldn't have used a site for last say 20 days or 30 days. They're going to hit your URL, and since you're using it for the first time, all these requests for the irctc.com will be served from the server. Okay. When you're going to keep on repeatedly using the same site, say in the morning and afternoon and evening, a lot of these JavaScripts, style sheets, fonts will get cached in your laptop. Will cache in your desktop. So when you access it, all these requests will not go to the server. Rather, it will get it will get downloaded from it will get reused from your browser cache itself. That is what we call as a testing as a repeated user. Testing as a first time user is there is no cache available in your machine. If you go to the developer tool, so you have to start using the developer tool much more frequently. Okay, there are a lot of things you can infer from the developer tool. Okay, now let me go to say see this site. I use this site because it's a local site, and then there are quite some of issues there in the website. Okay, so if you go to the developer tool, and then there is something called disable cache. Okay, in the top, if you see here, there is a toggle button for disabling the cache. Okay, so when you do a first time testing, as a first time user, you check this box. When you check this box, it means you're disabling the cache. Okay, so your browser will behave in such a way that it will send all the requests to your server. It won't, even though there's something in the cache, it won't take it. Okay, so always check this option of disable this cache. Okay, now I go and hit this website, and I see a lot of these things are getting loaded. Okay, now when I do a testing, okay, there are a few important metrics that I will track it. Okay, the load time, page size, number of requests, time to first byte, time to first paint, time to first contentful paint. Okay, and this is a kind of report as well. I'll be preparing it from a client side profiling perspective. Okay, as I said, the metrics are going to be load time. I'll tell you what each are. Okay, load time, time to first paint, time to contentful paint, time to first byte, page size, and number of requests. Okay, for both the condition, with cache and without cache. Okay, now what is load time? If I go to the website and go to the developer tools, the load time is when you say visually, right? You hit the page. Okay, let me clear this again. You hit your page, and then there's a spinner gets there will be a spinner. If you see in the top right, it will keep spinning. Okay, visually, whenever the spinner stops, is will be uh, um, technically that's where your load gets completed. Okay, just for your understanding, but we will not be able to capture that exactly when it started, when it ended, right? In the developer tool, if you see, there'll be something called load in the bottom right. There's a red color uh, uh, metric called load, 1.30 seconds. So this is your load time. This is a time taken for your page to get loaded properly. Okay, so this metric is something you will track it. See, there are a lot of metrics available when it comes to client side performance. Many things will be confusing, and we cannot keep track of a lot of metrics. Okay, uh, it is better to stick on to those 3-4 metrics which will make sense to you, which will make sense to the stakeholders and developers as well. Okay, so one is the load time. Second is going to be your time to first paint. Okay, the time to first paint is kind of recommendation from your Google. Okay, how fast you can display something in the UI so that the user will be engaged. As the metric name right, it is time to first paint. Okay, first paint can be just a layout change, a pixel, anything that can appear in the UI as soon as possible. Okay, that's why it is called as time to first paint. There's another metric called time to contentful paint, TTCP, time to contentful paint, which means how fast you can bring some content to the user in the UI. It is not the entire page, but at least a header, a banner, or an image, some navigation links. It can be any content. So that, see, the whole idea is we as a human now with current social media, all the shorts, everything, right? Our patience is very, very less. When a page is getting loaded, when you see a blank page for 1 second or 2 seconds, we easily tend to move to other websites and start browsing for uh, other need, or maybe you'll be opening your other competitor site. Instead of using Flipkart, you might be using some other website, right? Instead of makemytrip.com, you might be using some other website. So what Google recommend is, for not losing your customer, to keep your customers engaged, you have to make your time to first paint and time to contentful paint as shorter as possible. Okay, so which means you will not be, there won't be any SLA saying that for load time, there will be a SLA. Okay, if I go there, for a load time metric, there will be SLA given by your business. Say it has to be 2 seconds or 3 seconds or 5 seconds. But for TTP and TTCP, it is as early as possible, right? It can be 200 milliseconds, 300 milliseconds, 500 milliseconds. There's no SLA, but it has to be as soon as possible, and you have to capture it so that your business will know about, they know better about this Google recommendation. So it is good to capture this. Okay, how to capture this? There is no direct way of capturing it from your developer tool. If you go to the console, okay, go to the console, and then there is something called, it's a JavaScript API, performance.get entries by type of paint. Okay, so with this command, you go and enter. Okay, you will get the time to first paint, and then time to first contentful paint. Okay, first paint and first contentful paint. And then yes, it says that it's 872, and your first contentful paint also, it's 872 milliseconds. Okay, so sometimes it can be same. Sometimes your first paint will come earlier, followed by your time to first contentful paint. Okay, so from your developer tool, from a console, you would be able to measure the time to first paint and time to first contentful paint. Time to first byte, I think most of you might have known about it. Time to first byte is how fast your server is going to send your first byte. Okay, see, when you hit a home page, okay, when you hit the home page, your request will go to your server. Server will process it. Okay, and then always the server will send data in packets. If you have 5 MB, you don't send the 5 MB at a stretch. It will be keep sending 10 KB, 10 KB, 100 KB, 200 KB. It will send in packets. Okay, that's how any transmission works between browser and server. Now, if you go to your grresults.com, your first URL, and you go to the timing, okay, you will see these metrics here. Okay, there will be DNS lookup, initial connection, SSL handshake, request sent, okay, and waiting for server response. So waiting for server responses, it is waited for 128.84 milliseconds for a server to send back the response. Okay, this is called your time to first byte. Okay, you send a request, your server will process it, and then it will start sending the data in packets. When browser receives the first byte, time to first byte is called time to first byte. Okay, that is very important metric because that will indicate whether the slowness is there in server or not. Okay, you see two things here, blue and green. Okay, the green is time to first byte. The blue one is time between the first byte and last byte. So after sending the first byte, every remaining bytes of 5 MB, for example, it will keep coming. 550 KB, 100 KB, 1 MB, 2 MB, 3 MB, and all the bytes will get delivered to your browser. Okay, so difference between the time to first byte and then the last byte is called download time. Okay, so these two metrics are very important for you to understand whether the time is taken by server or is it time is taken for downloading your content. Okay, both are very important metric for you to understand if there is a slowness of your website for a page, whether it is taking so much of time at the server end, or is it time taking for rendering the entire page. You will also see something called DNS lookup, initial connection, SSL connection. These would be mostly, it will be all very negligible, low. But when if it is alarming, say SSL handshake or initial connection is taking too much of time, that also you will get it here. Okay. Now from our metric perspective, load time, TTFP, TTCP, TTFB, and your with cache, without cache, you will measure it. Okay. Then there are two more metrics. You have page size, you will have number of requests. Okay. So when you look at the bottom again in the developer tool, you see there are two page size, 15 MB and 23 MB. The left hand side bottom. Okay, 15 MB and 23 MB. Now, what it means is the 15 MB is transferred. Okay, 23 MB is your actual page size. Now, if you just think of your email attachment, right? You have a 10 MB file, and then you zip it and make it as a 3 MB. Attach that 3 MB, and 3 MB will get transferred over the network, and it will receive it will go and reach the recipient. Okay, and then your recipient will download and then unzip it. Correct. Similarly, here as well, your server will zip your content and then it will send it to the browser. The actual page size is 23.3 MB. What got transferred through network after zipping it, right? It is 15 MB. Okay. Now, from a performance perspective, I want my page size, which is getting transferred over the network, to be minimal, or it should be optimized rather. So I'll be keep tracking of this transferred size. Very important when compared to the actual size. Okay, so that page size is what I will capture and monitor. Number of requests. If you see the leftmost bottom corner, you will see number of requests, 295 requests. That also I will note it down. Okay. Now, all these metrics, both with cache and without cache. Okay. Now you will see with cache and without cache, right? The load time, TTFP, TTCP, TTFP, you will not see a lot of difference. Maybe it will come down by 300 milliseconds or 500 milliseconds. You won't see major difference in any of these metrics with cache and without cache. But the page size alone, you will see a very vast difference. Okay, I'll tell you why. Okay, now if you note it down, 15 MB is transferred. Okay, 23 MB is the actual page size. Now I'll clear this. Okay, and then I will go and remove this toggle. Okay, I will enable the cache now. Okay, and then I will load the page. Okay, now the load time is 1.16 second. Earlier it was 1.3, I guess, right? And then if you see number of requests is also same 288. But if you see the actual page size, it is still 23.3 MB. But the page size that is getting transferred is 122 KB. Earlier it was 17 MB or 15 MB. Now it is 122 KB. Okay? Which means with cache, lot of requests are getting delivered from my cache itself. It don't go to the server. That's how it has to be, right? The caching, browser cache has to be very effective, which you will be validate when you have this report created, and when you compare the page size between without cache and with cache, you should see a major difference. If you don't see a major difference, then we have to go for the further optimization. Okay, so this report, you will take it for, you cannot go and take this report for every page in your application, right? Not possible, not feasible, and not required also. Okay, majority of your client-side performance problems or your client-side focus should be on your homepage, your landing pages, where a user can land directly, right? All those pages where a user can land directly. In any business process, the first page or the second page, right? First two pages. All these things is what you will take it as a scope for your client-side performance. You won't take every page, not at all possible, not at all feasible, not at all required. Only the homepage, your login page, your landing pages, or for every business process, say checkout or say order history or your registration, right? You can take any business process. In that first page or the first two pages is something you can consider for a scope. Okay, and then for every page you will be going and taking this metric with cache and without cache. Okay, so this is more from a client-side testing or capturing the end-user experience metrics. Okay, see, in a matured organization where they take client-side very seriously, they will also try to automate this. Okay, because manually capturing this for every release, right, it's going to be a little bit of time-consuming. Okay, and also you have to take this metrics one as a single user client-side profiling, you do it and capture all these metrics, right? And also under load, when your application is under load using Jmeter or LoadRunner, it is also equally important to get this at least the load time measured, end user metric, load time captured from the developer tool directly. Okay, so first your comprehensive client-side testing, optimization, everything you'll do it with a single user, like what I shown it now. And then during a load testing also, under load, how is your end user experience? That load time also you have to capture it manually. Okay, you can also automate it. There are ways to automate it. People use Selenium to capture these metric in an automated way. You have Dynatrace. There's something called synthetic monitoring component through which you can capture this client-side metrics. Okay, as I told yesterday, there are few videos that will be available for you to look into it offline. One is the Dynatrace synthetic monitoring, and second is approach towards getting these metrics through Selenium. Okay, Both these videos, I'll ask the team to add it to the playlist once you guys have made a payment and registered. Okay, so that you can take it, look into it offline. Only when it is required for you to do this thing in an automated way, in those situations, that will be useful. Okay, I'll pass it here, guys. From the optimization perspective, client side recommendation and all, we will look into it tomorrow. I'll pass it. Anybody have any questions on these metrics? What is client side testing? Why we are doing it? Anybody have any questions? Please feel free to ask.
Hi Satish, Manish here.
Yeah, right.
Can we know like what all things are coming from cache and what are things coming from server when we enable cache?
Yeah. So now if you go to the developer tool, okay, see normally usual pattern is when you look into this, all the resources in the top right, you have all XHR, document, style sheet, JavaScript, font, images, media. You can toggle one by one. Say, for example, if I go to the XHR, okay, so XHRs are nothing but your dynamic contents. For your website, say you log into your Amazon.com, your order history, your profile information, your payment information, all these are dynamic data, right? And all these things will come from server always. Those will not be cached. And if you see here, all these things you will have a you'll see the response code as 200, and then the size as well, it is a 0.9 KB, 0.1 KB, 5 KB. You just made a round trip, right? All these XHR fetch calls, it will go to your server and it will get it. Same way for document. All your HTML document, mostly it will be coming from your server. Okay. Now, if you see this one of the HTML file, it is cached, so it is showing us from a disk cache. Okay. Same way, there are two other documents coming from a disk cache. Okay. So which means it wouldn't have gone to your um, server, served from disk cache. Okay. Now, if you go to apart from this XHR and document, right? Every other mostly will be cached. Your style sheet, your JavaScript, your font, your images. Images, again, it depends. Here, I don't know why all these images are not cached. Some of them are cached, but some of them are not cached. Maybe it is all blocked. Okay, that's why it is not cached. Okay, so um, most of the content apart from your XHR and document, everything else will get cached, and you can verify it by going to each of these category under the size. You'll be able to see whether it is cached or not. And also one more way you can validate is if you can go to these individual requests, right? And then go to the headers, you will see there will be something called cache control. Okay. So in the cache control, you will see some kind of the header will be there, and then max age will be there. Okay. Max age is the expiry of this cache. So when this header is there with some value, it means it is cached. So that's how you can validate what is getting cached, what is not getting cached.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Sure. Okay. Fine. Again, people who have registered right already, please send me your email ID so that I can give an access to this drive so that you can start setting up all these things required in your mission. Okay. Please ping your email ID. And then people who haven't registered, if you want to register and make payments, you can reach out to the group admins in the WhatsApp, or you can reach out to Mr. Kumar Gupta directly, and then you can get it registered. Or if you have any questions around registration, payment, and all, you can reach out to them. Okay. Fine, guys. We'll continue tomorrow. From tomorrow, request you all to join on time. We will start on time, and then we will finish it right at 9:30. Okay, and if you have any questions, we can discuss at the beginning. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, we can spend time to clarify any doubts from the previous day. Okay. So before we wind up, anybody else have any other questions? Okay, guys.
Hello,
Yeah,
can
yeah,
you
please.
just paste the URL of the website that we just studied? The jewelry
Uh,
website.
okay, okay, sure, no problem. I'll do it. Others have any other question, guys, before we close the session today? Okay, guys. Yeah, thank you. We'll meet tomorrow then.